Hello, and welcome to another round of Sarah Sabin's question time. Today's question is courtesy of the Telegraph career section. I'll be contributing towards an article that they will be releasing in the near future. And the question was, Sarah, how do executives get over embarrassing situations and mistakes and make sure that it doesn't hold them back? Now, interestingly enough, my first thought to this question was, well, it's an odd question. We've all made embarrassing mistakes and we've all been in embarrassing situations, bar none. I would defy anyone in the world to say that they haven't been there. Now, actually, it's your resilience and your ability to get over those embarrassing situations that actually positively contribute to career success. So, essentially, the way that you handle embarrassing mistakes and situations will either mean that you're negatively impacted or actually you have a net zero or positive effect from the embarrassing mistake or situation. There's far too much of a tendency nowadays to bravado your way through situations and pretend that you never make mistakes and everything's fine and it's always someone else's fault and it's not yours. There's a tendency now towards that, which is unhealthy. So, an example of this was many years ago, Lexus had a major fault in all of its cars that they released of a particular model. Now, you'd think that that kind of embarrassing mistake would have led to a major problem for Lexus in terms of their customers and how their customers see them. Now, actually, what happened there was Lexus A admitted the mistake and B took responsibility and came up with a plan for that. That could be B and C. And what they ended up doing was contacting each customer personally that had bought that car, recalling the car, but in a way where they were like, right, we're going to recall the car and fix this problem for you for free to deal with any inconvenience that you might have. We're going to allow you access to this other car that you can use in the interim whilst we're fixing your car. So they recalled all of the cars, they fixed the mistake, and they cleaned up the cars so that they came back shining and new. What happened in the end, you might ask? Well, actually, Lexus's customers' impression of Lexus improved as a result of the way that this embarrassing situation could have been handled. And Lexus went on to have a bumper year financially. Now, you could very much see how that could have gone a completely, utterly different way, where it turned into this whole scandal, which impacted Lexus's share price, and it could have become a whole thing. But the way that they handled it meant that it was positive. And we all have the option to do that as executives and as a group of executives within a company. So, what I'm saying is that how you handle a situation is everything. I also want to point out that the most successful people in the world have failed way more than the average person. And the problem is not the failure point, it's the problem is the perceived stigma around failure, which often prevents leaders from taking ownership of these embarrassing situations. Whereas these are actually golden opportunities for learning, for growth, for external impressions of your brand. And actually, what is damaging to success is if, as a leader or as a company, you don't take responsibility for a suboptimal situation. then the likelihood of that situation being rectified quickly reduces, and the longer it takes to solve, the worse everything gets. Everyone turns their attention to attributing blame, and if you're stuck in the emotion of embarrassment, you're not going to have the clear head that you need to fix the situation from a rational place and to learn from the situation so that it doesn't happen again in the future. So you can imagine here, going back to the Lexus example, if Lexus had not taken responsibility and they're like, well, it's not my problem, it's just stuff that happens, like you have to pay to have it fixed, you can imagine that the outcome vis-a-vis what a customer thinks of Lexus might have been very different. So situations can quickly escalate if they're not faced rationally and head on. And what people actually judge you on is whether you can gracefully move through an embarrassing situation. So I'm going to give you 3 very short, simple steps to move through an embarrassing situation. Firstly, process your own emotion around the situation, because when you are carrying an emotion such as shame, fear, and you don't process them, you're in your emotional mind, the limbic system, which limits your prefrontal cortex's ability to think rationally. And that's the part of your brain you really need to be online to rationally come up with a plan to solve whatever it is that has happened. Secondly, you want to take responsibility. So you take ownership and responsibility for the situation from an emotionally neutral place. We're all human. You don't have to beat yourself up about it. We all make mistakes. And actually, other people have more respect for us when we admit to our mistakes calmly and when we take action to resolve those mistakes. It actually increases trust and respect vis-a-vis our team and us. So how other people see us. And then the third thing is to actually come up with a plan of action. So how are you going to resolve the situation and reflect on the learnings from it so that this doesn't happen in the future? Bonus point here, share those learnings and reflections with your team, because you can use that situation as a coaching moment for everyone.